as well. Okay, it looks like we do have a quorum, so we will move on to reviewing minutes. Are there any questions on the minutes from October 10th meeting? Okay, if everybody's good, I'll take a motion. Okay.
Second.
All right, all in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries. That brings us to business. Looks like we've got 2 items on the agenda here for business. So staff, go ahead.
Yeah, well, just one item prior to that, we could go to the bills,
Oh,
please.
bills, I'm sorry. I got excited. All right. Yeah, what do we have for bills, staff?
For bills, we've got about half the cost of our Highway 55 small area plan that has been completed. There's some draft plans that are available in the next week or so. We're meeting with the Planning Commission and Council. We'll be sharing some of that information with you in December as well. So that's moving along great. The $15,000 for the American Center for Philanthropy, I'll explain a little bit about that. We got a grant through what's commonly known as the Doffing Fund to put together a business incubator on 213 Ramsey Street. This was something when Eric was here, he helped us out to secure. We decided that that wasn't going to be what we're going to do with it, and so we're returning the money back to them. So that's what that $15,000 is. Some legal bills, relocation costs for Block 28, and some costs related to the acquisition of 400 Vermillion Street. So I can stand for any questions.
Anyone have questions? Okay, then I'll take a motion on bills.
So.
Okay.
Second.
All right, all in favor of approving bills signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Now we'll get to the much-awaited business. Go ahead, staff.
Alrighty, thank you, Commissioners. So first order of business we have on here is authorizing the signature of the lease agreement for 213 Ramsey Street. At the September 9th HEDRA meeting, the Commission authorized staff to engage in discussions on lease terms with the Hastings Prescott Arts Council, or HPAC, to utilize that space at 213 Ramsey Street. After discussing with the HPAC board, an initial lease structure was agreed upon. It's a term of 24 months with a rental price of $100 a month plus utilities. So after discussion with the board, instead of having a higher base rent price and then the city taking care of utilities to avoid a potential potentially having to, go back for increased rent to offset utilities. It's easier to just have them take over the utility payments, so then they can be a little more in control of what they want to use for their energy consumption. But yeah, I'm happy to stand for any questions.
Alec, talk a little bit about the insurance on the building and who's responsible.
Yeah, so from what will require it's in the lease, the HPAC does have to have a proof of insurance themselves, and then we do have insurance on the property, and I spoke with Kelly Murtaugh, and we do get a changed insurance policy if we have a tenant in the building, so I've already made her aware that the tenant will be in there, so I'm not sure what the cost difference on that is as of right now.
Yeah, and the cost difference, that would be going down. When we have an occupied building in there, there's less of a chance of something going wrong, so our liability actually goes down on that. So that'll be helpful to have a tenant in there.
Okay. How about like snow removal? Is that on us or is that on them?
The way we understand it, so since it is a shared parking lot, there was a joint agreement between the city and the owners of the other half, the Walkers, and we take care of all of the parking lot maintenance in the winter. So the city will be handling the plowing, and I believe we've used Precision in the past, or Parks.
Yeah, I think that's the city crews that do that one, but yeah, that's part of our existing agreement for the entire property. So we'll continue as we have on that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions regarding first item? Yes.
I guess one other is there any needed maintenance before this lease is agreed to? Is there, building, windows, doors, security, whatever else that needs to be done before the agreement is finalized and move-in is anticipated?
No, we do not have any anticipated maintenance needed on the property before the new tenants take over. We did replace the furnace and installed a new air conditioner late this summer, early in the fall. So that has been taken care of and should be good for the next 15 years, barring any unforeseen things there. And then we already have a security system in place, and the doors and windows are in good shape.
You got one?
Yeah, I'm just going to voice my support because, I know the lease amount is very low at $100, but when the folks from HPAC came in before, they talked about doing some improvements to the building inside. They talked about perhaps, and, we're obviously not going to hold them to it, looking at purchasing property in the future, whatever that might be. So I think this gives them that room that they need to develop either that property, a different property, and, it does add to the vibrancy of downtown, so.
And then with the 24-month lease, if something comes up development-wise on that block, are we locked in for 24, or is this something we can terminate?
There's a termination clause in the lease. I can familiarize myself, but it's pretty quick notice on there.
Okay, good. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any other questions regarding the lease agreement? Okay, I'll stand for a motion.
I move that we authorize the signature of the lease agreement.
Okay. All in favor of authorizing the signature for that lease agreement at 213 Ramsey Street, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Alex, what do you have for the second resolution there?
Yeah, so, pardon me. In June, HEDRA reviewed and approved the facade improvement program grant submitted by Alan Blankenship for his property at 213 Sibley Street for painting and exterior improvements of the Riviera Theater building. The original grant amount came to $1,666.67. After the grant approval and the work was completed, the applicant submitted for reimbursement, and it was found the billed amount for painting was higher than the originally quoted price. The originally quoted price was for $3,000, and the final cost came up to $4,650. So adding an additional $1,650 to the total project costs. Looking at, so staff seeking an amendment to the approved grant amount from that $1,666.67 to $2,110.99 to align with the increased project cost and to get to that 2-to-1 matching. Happy to stand for any questions.
What is our balance right now on that facade improvement agreement?
We are, last I looked, we're still sitting at a fairly healthy balance, I believe north of $30,000 out of the 50.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Then I will stand for a motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor of approving the amendment to the facade improvement grant at 213 Sibley Street, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. All right, that gets us down to reports and information. What do we have for new stuff going on here, staff?
Well, we have an open to business third quarter report within your packet. Happy to report that 7 Hastings businesses and 3 residents utilized the program so far in 2024. In addition to that, Open to Business has been offering a lot of different seminars that we've been sharing with the Chamber of Commerce that individuals can partake in as well. So being used by the citizens, the rate of use is similar to other cities in the county of our size. So I can stand for any questions you may have on that. Okay. And on to development updates here, probably the biggest news is we are the proud owners of 400 Vermilion Street, known as the former Wells Fargo Bank Building. This is a significant acquisition for HEDRA and our efforts for Block 28. As you know, this was the largest piece of property and the largest purchase we've made on that block. With this property, we now own just about 90% of the block. Property remaining would be Spiral Pizza. So we will be having conversations with them to determine what their future might be. And we're also at a point with the block in which we can go out and seek development interest in there. Alex and I have discussed how to move forward with this. We're putting together kind of a prospectus on it for individuals to look at that might be interested, and meeting with different developers before we put that out, just to get their interest and how we might shape that. Bottom line is that we would be in a great position if by spring of '25, we could have a development contract with the developer for that site. Now, I'm not sure, if that's going to be too ambitious or not, but that's what we're working forward at this time. So that's a great bit of news, and I thank HEDRA for their support on this block. It's been an interesting effort in the acquisition of properties so far. This has been a complicated block with a lot of different properties. Other things not Block 28 related, we're continuing to move forward on our small area plan, as I mentioned earlier. We've got a joint meeting with our Planning Commission and Council coming up on December 2nd to review preliminary concepts. I do plan to share those with HEDRA at our meeting in December as well. They've prepared a market analysis for the development conditions as well. I think that was really a key part from my standpoint in the selection of HKGI for this project. So what this does again is it looks at the future land use for areas along Highway 55 that extend mostly into the township areas. It gives an idea of what could be constructed in there in the future. What it does not do is dictate any sort of construction or anything like that to occur. This is really for individuals that may be interested in annexation development to get a sense of what would be acceptable to the city. So we'll be looking at that more at our December meeting. And then we had a preliminary and final plat submitted for Sunset West 3rd Edition. This is just north of Seas Church at the end of 15th Street from Greg J. Holmes, 41 single-family homes. So we are in the process of reviewing that. I'm uncertain as to what the time frame for construction of that might be. So I think that's most of the updates I have.
I do have one question on the Block 28. So how do you envision that transpiring if we do have an agreement with somebody? Is that typically a sale up front where we get paid for the property up front and they develop, or would that be like they do a bunch of work and we close on the back end of that?
Sure. The initial agreement we'd have would be a purchaser development agreement in which we set expectations for, what the development would be, if there would be any assistance as far as TIF goes, and then the terms of when the sale would take place in that one. My expectations going into development of that block is we want to recoup the funds that we had invested in there from the standpoint of being able to invest those in other projects in the future. So it'll be a situation I anticipate in which we will have various development entities that may be interested in the project that will provide information to this board, and then we make a decision as to who to go with, and then enter an agreement to go through the specifics on that. So the development agreement would detail those type of things.
And, go ahead. The process for identifying potential partners, would that be like just staff reaching out to known commodities, or would it be advertising it somewhere? How would those be found?
Reaching out to known commodities and contacts we have, we may do some advertisement. It's a small world as far as that goes, so I'm certainly not opposed to doing that. I'd have to make sure that there'd be some benefit in doing, but a lot of it are just connections.
Okay. Thank you.
That was my question, whether staff has got the capacity to go out there, do the marketing for the development agreement and put that together, or if that's something we source out, but I think you answered.
Okay, yeah, we're putting together a list of people who may be interested, and also a list of people who may be interested. So we are networking.
Excellent.
That's all I had tonight.
Okay, any other questions on any topics
Yep.
on the agenda?
John, I went by 315 Pine the other day, and I see that the third floor is getting put together, and there's a roof on it, and there is some progress. I don't know if what the intent is for fall, but they're supposed to be closed up by winter, right? Isn't that what you had
Right.
said?
Yeah, they're working towards that. We're have our building inspection staff down there at a standing monthly meeting with him to go through things. And last time I spoke to Alana a couple of weeks ago, they appeared that they were gonna be able to get most of the roof done on the north half of the building, and then there would still be some poly over part of the south half of the building over the winter. But
Yeah,
they're,
because the poly that was there from last winter is all deteriorated.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like, but I thought you had said that there was, the effort to get it all covered over before the snow flew.
yeah, at least to get the thing buttoned up better than the poly that was
Yep.
leaking, that's up there right now. So within the building, I should go in there and snap some pictures. I haven't been in there in about 6 months or so, but for what I've been told, they're making steady progress in there, which is great to see.
Well, that'd be good. Go over and take some pictures and let us take a peek.
Yeah,
The other thing I wanted to ask about was the creamery. I was over at the mansion next door, and we were looking, and I'm going, part of the newer part of the building in the back, in between the plywood and the original building, that roof looks like it's deteriorating more, and it's like, okay, is there any progress about getting that taken care of? It's just like,
yeah. I have nothing new to report on that. I have not had word from the attorney working on that project for probably at least a month. Dan and I were just talking about previous to the meeting here that it'd be good for me to reach out again on that one to get an update.
yeah,
It's been some time.
like to see that. It's like,
Absolutely.
we were at the, next door, and it's like, people are looking over there and saying, are we gonna get anywhere before
Yeah.
something else happened? Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Any other topics? Okay. Then I will take a motion to close. All right, all in favor of closing the meeting, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.